Hey everyone, welcome back to another deck idea brought to you by Double Sleeved. Today we're going to be covering the Cooler Deck coming out in Ultimate Squad. But as always, if you enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. But let's jump into it. Kicking things off, we've got the Leader Cooler. It has an auto, add one card from your life to your hand. When this card attacks, you may draw one card. If you don't, play up to one green unison with a specified cost of 1 from your hand with a marker on it. Similar to how we saw with the yellow decks, with the yellow Goku, kind of utilizing the unisons and playing them on top of each other to utilize Empower. But we've also got auto once per turn. When one of your green unisons is placed in the drop area, draw one card. So pretty good to be able to continuously cycle through our unisons and add cards to our hand. Awaken, when your life is at 4 or less, you may draw one card, switch one of your energy to active mode, and then flip this card over. On our Awaken side, we're just a standard 15k leader. Auto, when this card attacks, you may draw one card. If you don't, play one green unison with a specified cost of 1 from your hand with a marker on it. So similar to the Unawakened side, we've got an auto once per turn. Same deal, when one of your green unisons is placed in the drop area, draw one card. But we've also got an activate battle now of discard one green card from your hand, and we can choose this card or one of our green unisons and it gets plus 5,000 power for the battle. It's good that we can do this on either our turn or our opponent's turn, and it's not once per turn like the errated Broly with 0 cost combo powers and things like that. So if we've got a large amount of unisons in our hand, they're not just dead cards, and we can cycle through them or use them as combo power essentially to defend or offend on our unison or leader, which is really good. Moving into the deck, we are running a large amount of unisons since there's so much synergy with the leader and with the Empower effect. But starting things off, we've got Door, Cooler's Armored Squadron. It's a 5k 1 cost unison with Empower, green 2, and then an auto. If this card has 3 or more markers on it, when this card is played, add up to 1 Cooler card with an energy cost of 1 from your hand to your hand from the deck, and then shuffle, and then a +1 activate main. This card gets plus 10,000 power for the turn, so we can attack with a 15k attacker, but getting the Cooler to hand is good too. We do want to be utilizing that card in the deck. Salsa, Cooler's Army Squadron. This is a 10,000 power 1 cost unison, again with the Empower green 2 effect. This one's a counterplay, so you play this card with a marker on it, and then auto, if your leader is a green Freezer Clan card, this card has 3 or more markers on it. When it's played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 7 or less and KO it. So very reminiscent of the Freezer counterplay as well. And then we've got the +1 activate main. This card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. So some really good synergy with the Freezer charismatic villain in this card as well. Since we're able to counterplay this card with a marker on it, it'll gain the Empower effect if we already have a unison on the field. We can then KO one of our opponent's battle cards with an energy cost 7 or less, and then in counter window 1 play the card, the auto will then go enter pending, and then in counter window 2 play the Freezer, so that we can KO 2 battle cards with energy cost 7 or less for 1 energy essentially. So some really good synergy between the 2 cards there, but just being able to KO things with the unison is always really good. Next we've got Niaz, I believe it is, Cooler's Armored Squadron. This one is a 4,000 power 1 cost unison. Again, we've got the Empower green 2. This one is a counter attack, so we get to negate the attack and then play this card with a marker on it. Same deal, if this card has 3 or more markers on it, when it gets played, we get to choose 1 of our opponent's battle cards, and it can't attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. So pretty good if we just play this card from our hand, we can choose a battle card and our opponent can't attack with it next turn. But also if we negate with the unison, then we can choose a card that hasn't attacked yet and prevent that from attacking, which is quite handy as well. Very reminiscent of some yellow effects, being able to lock out our opponent from attacking, but can definitely come in handy with the big battle cards that are kind of in the game right now. We've got a +2 activate main. This card gets plus 6,000 power for the turn, so it'll only be brought up to a 10k, not 15k like some of the others, but the negate on this card is still really good. Next we've got Frieza Galactic Dynasty. This is an SR coming out in Ultimate Squad. Same deal, it's a 1-cost unison as well, 10,000 power. This one's in power green 3, so we're able to carry over 3 markers from the previous unison if it was already on the field. And then we've got a permanent. While this card has 3 or fewer markers on it, it can't attack. So if we are able to empower over something with 2 or 3 markers on it and get this card out with 3 markers, then we can do the +1, which is the activate main. This card gets plus 10,000 power for the turn, and then make it have 4 markers so we can attack with it. And then we've got the auto limit 1. If this card has 3 or more markers on it when it's played, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. We're a green deck, so there's always going to be a little part of hand destruction in it, but just being able to force our opponent to discard a card and then deal with a 20k attacker is really good. Green also got an extremely good unison with Golden Frieza Newfound Might. Rather than all the other ones being a 1-cost, this is a 3-cost unison, 20,000 power, and power green 4, so we're going to be able to carry over 4 markers from the previous unison. And then we've got dual attack, blocker, and this is a counter attack. Play this card with 3 markers, so we can pay for 3. Counter attack, play this card. We're not going to be negating the attack, but we do have an auto. If this card has 4 or more markers on it, when this card is played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards and KO them. So an extremely good board wipe for 3 energy. If our opponent's attacking with a battle card, then we can KO the card that's attacking and pretty much end the battle immediately there. But just being able to board wipe is extremely good as well. We've also got a -4 activate main. This card gets plus 10,000 power and triple strike for the turn, and then switch this card to active mode at the end of the turn. So we're going to utilize a 30k dual attack triple strike that turns into a blocker on our opponent's turn if we're not able to close out the match with this unison. Extremely good, puts a lot of pressure on. 30k triple strike and dual attack is nothing to sneeze at. An extremely good unison that can get this get 4 or 5 markers quite easily. We don't have a +1 effect, but with the empower green 4, we can easily keep a unison out to carry over 2 or 1 marker, so that when we play 3, even if we're only carrying over 2 markers or however much it is, then we're coming out with 5. We can activate the -4 and then attack our opponent from there. Cooler, mightiest sibling in space. It's a 1-cost 4k. Auto, when this card is played, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 green unison with a specified cost of 3 or less among them to your hand, and then shuffle the deck so we can search any of our unisons. Auto once per turn. When one of your green unisons is placed in the drop area, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand, and this card gets plus 11,000 power for the turn. So a bit of self-awakening as well, and giving us a 15k attacker, since we're going to be having unisons go to the drop area quite a lot since we're playing them over one another. So it'll allow us to draw 1 from our leader for the auto of when the green unison is placed in the drop area, and then we can take the life and attack with the cooler as well. An extremely good green card coming out in Ultimate Squad is Cooler Sibling Cruelty. It's a 4-cost 20k for 1 specified green. Double strike, permanent. For each green unison card in your drop area, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. So we can play this for 1 if we have 3 unisons in the drop area, which we're going to be going through the unisons quite quickly. So it's very easy to get this down to a 1-cost. And when it gets played, you can't play copies of this card this turn. Additionally, you may place 1 green unison with a specified cost of 3 or less from your drop area at the bottom of the deck. If you do, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. So a lot of great effects just for 1 energy, being able to force our opponent to discard a card just by bottom decking a unison from the drop, and then having the 20k double strike available. Extremely good. So if this card does get counterplayed, we can play another, since it's the auto will trigger when it gets played. So if it never hits the field, then we can just play another one. But obviously if it hits the field, then we can't activate that effect. We can't play another one. But yeah, a great card if we're able to get that cost down, just to be able to play it for 1 energy makes it extremely good. Zabuto, Zabuto Heroic Stance. It's a 1-cost 5k. Auto, choose 1 card in your life, add it to hand. when it attacks, it gets plus 10,000 power and double strike. So adding into the aggressive side of this deck, being able to utilize the double strikers and self-awakeners so that we can get onto our awakened side and have access to the activate battle. And then Sun Gohan, Hidden Might, deflect unique double strike, permanent when your life is at 3 or less. Reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3, making it a 2 cost. And then it's a 25k battle card as well, with an auto if your leader is green. When it gets played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier and KO it, or choose one of your opponent's unisons and remove a marker, depending on which one we need. But being able to KO through barrier is extremely good at all times, but we've got a lot of self-awakeners too, so we can get to 3 life or less quite easily so that we can play this out. Frieza, Charismatic Villain, pretty standard in all green decks at this point. Counterplay, play the card from our hand. We can activate the counter if we have a green unison with 2 or more markers in play by just you don't have to pay anything. You can just play it with as long as you have the unison out, and when it gets played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, 7 or less, and KO it. Just be mindful of how many markers your unison has. We do have Empower, so we're going to be carrying over a lot of markers, but if our opponent starts attacking into our unisons to keep it on 1, then that's something to be mindful of. Since we're KOing a lot of battle cards, we've got Surprise Attack Frieza. It's a 15k critical. Auto activate this skill when your opponent's battle card is KO'd. If Surprise Attack Frieza is not in play, you may play this card from your hand. So we've got a couple of different cards that can KO battle cards, you know, things like the Salsa when it gets played. We've also got things like the board wipe from the Golden Frieza and also the Charismatic Villain. So a lot of different ways that we can get the Frieza out onto the field, and it just adds more pressure being a 15k critical. Rubrian, Punishing Passion, standard, activate main, 2 green energy. If your leader is green, send this card from drop to warp and your opponent chooses 2 cards and discards them. If we have the energy available in this card in the drop area, it's always good to start diminishing our opponent's hand. Dormant Potential for one of the better floodgates in the game. Counterattack if your leader is mono green. Choose any number of your opponent's battle cards that add up to a total energy cost of 2 or less and KO them. And then additionally, you may choose 1 green card in your hand and discard it. If you do, your opponent can only attack 1 more time for this turn. And if you have a green unison in play, you can activate the counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So really good at just being able to apply that floodgate, but also the added effect of KOing 2 or less is quite handy as well. Homicidal Clones, another green staple. If your leader is green, negate the attack, play 1 meta token, and that token gains blocker for the turn. It's a 2 cost extra card, but we have a permanent of when your life is at 5 or less. You can activate the card's counter skill from your hand by adding 1 card from your life to your hand instead of paying its energy cost. Super combo, Defending Father Paragus, standard as well. When you combo with this card, if your leader is green and your life is at 4 or less, draw 2 cards and then choose 1 card in your hand and send it to the warp. So we can warp those unisons and things like that if we need to, or any of our other cards, since the unisons do have some kind of combo power with the activate battle from our leader. We can defend our leader with them, but we can't defend our battle cards or use them offensively on our battle cards. So it might be handy to start warping the unisons rather than your 5k combos. Adding to the aggression of the deck, we've got SS4 Bardock Fighting Against Fate, Overwhelm 6, Dual Attack, 25k. Pretty standard in all decks alongside the Furthering Destruction Champa. We would see these both of these cards in 80% of decks at this point. But when you combo with the Champa, choose one of your attacking cards and it gains double strike for the turn. And then for the secret rare, we've got Majin Buu, Incarnation of Demonic Evil, a secret rare that we saw running around with King Cold when that deck was relevant, although King Cold may be coming back with some of the cards that we've gone over today and coming out in Ultimate Squad, but I definitely think that it fits extremely well within this deck thanks to the Golden Frieza Unison. So Majin Buu is an ultimate double strike 40k, and it's a counter. If a card other than your leader card is in battle, negate the counter attack skill and then play this card. And then we've got the permanent, if your leader is mono green or Black Demon Realm Race card, and you're activating this card's counter skill, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 7. And then the added effect if your leader is a Black Demon Realm Race. So being able to pay 3 to counter, is extremely good when going in for game on our triple striking dual attacking freezer, just to be able to remove the counter and then close out the game from there. But it works out well because we've got the counter attack on the freezer, so we can play it on our opponent's turn, and then when it comes back to our turn we can do the -4 and have our energy available for the secret rare. And if the freezer isn't able to close out the game for whatever reason, then we still have a 40k double strike to close things out from there. So counters in this game are extremely good. Yellow's always running around with counters, and blue does as well with the golden 8. So I definitely think that it's fitting to take the secret rare place, and definitely works well with the deck. But as always, leave a comment if you think there's anything else that could be added into the deck that I might have missed. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you at the next deck idea.